All right, welcome everybody. I'm excited to have a fantastic person, a very highly knowledgeable person on kombucha. If you haven't heard about kombucha yet, you're probably under a rock somewhere. But we want to bring in our favorite Hannah Ruhama, the kombucha mama, Crum. You can say it. You have a better ring to it when you say it. But Hannah has been in kombucha forever, I feel like. But she's former president and founder of Kombucha Brewers International, award-winning and best-selling author, and the founder and master brewer at Kombucha Camp. Welcome, Hannah.
Thanks, Dan. So great to be here.
So we're going to talk about kombucha. I want to introduce people to kombucha. I want to share with them how to enjoy it, how to go find it, and all those great things. And to begin, though, tell us a little bit about your background that I just kind of shared and just kind of your love and passion for kombucha.
Yeah, so for those who are unfamiliar, kombucha is fermented tea. Now, just like grape juice and wine don't exactly taste the same, that's true of kombucha. So it's not going to have that alkaline tea flavor. It is an acetic acid ferment, so it's got a little tanginess to it. It's got a little bright bubble pop. It's really like a fun, sweet, sour soda, if you will. Now add to that all these great benefits. So I first discovered kombucha, or rather I say kombucha discovered me because I wasn't looking for her. I happened to visit a friend in San Francisco in the early 2000s, and he had a jar and it was all covered in mysterious things were floating. He goes, "That's the kombucha." Never heard of this word, but it's a weird word. It's stuck in my head. And when I returned to Los Angeles, lo and behold, every Whole Foods, of course, had a massive shelf of kombucha. So I grabbed a ginger ale off. I took my first sip, and now I'm going to ask you about your first sip, Dan. What was your first sip like?
Yeah, so I started getting interested into better for you products. Let's say I'm gonna say like 2018, 2017, something like that. Ditching the sodas, right? Trying to get
Mhm.
away from the high sugar and the high bad for you things, right? And I ran across, I want to say it was like a mojito flavored kombucha, and I mean cocktails attract me, so I was attracted to the fact that it said mojito and the probiotics. And I think probiotics was the first thing that was like, I know these are good for you. Gut health was starting to become a kind of a buzzword. And I tried it, I loved it, and I said, if this is something that's, it's hard for me to really consume just plain water, right? That's
Yeah.
the best thing, I think for us. But what's the next best thing that can have flavor and can still be enjoyed? I think to what you just has a little bubble on the tongue, the fizz. And it brought me in, and I've explored a ton of these kombucha brands nowadays, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic, as they do make both now. And I love it. It's a better for you option, I think, out in the world that has a ton of health benefits. So yeah, that was my
Well, and
first
I think
experience.
for some new consumers, depending on which brand you're choosing, you might get the little, whoa, that was a little bit different than I was expecting. But of course, if you
Totally.
harken back to your first sip of coffee or your first sip of beer or wine, you might have felt the same as well. And so, like all things, it's an acquired taste. That said, what's really neat about the kombucha industry is people have started creating offerings that are easier for newbies to enjoy. And so, if you try a kombucha and you feel like that flavor is just a little too intense or overwhelming, there's many things you can do. First, you can dilute it with water. You're still getting all that great probiotic benefit, but go and try another brand, go and try another
Yeah.
flavor, because there literally is a kombucha for everyone. Now, my first sip was like, oh, the angels were singing and the lights were shining and every nerve ending in my body was electrified because I was sad. I was standard American diet, which unfortunately is still
Yeah.
chock full of processed foods. And, I just didn't really understand that my body was craving. It was thirsting for these organic acids, for these probiotics, for all of the nutrients that are present in kombucha. And I would even posit kombucha is the original soda. Like soda is a wannabe fermented drink. With
Yeah.
kombucha, we have natural effervescence versus forced carbonation. With kombucha, we have these great organic acids that put nutrients in your body, whereas you have acids depleting nutrients from your bodies with soda. And of course, that natural sweetness is coming from the fermented sugar, which does have a lower glycemic impact. And so that can be confusing when you're looking at a kombucha bottle and you see, oh, sugar grams. It's not table sugar, right? So I
Yeah.
think we automatically go and think, oh, well, this is sucrose. It's not. And so, we even had a recent study showing that it's helping folks with type 2 diabetes have lower fasting glucose rates when they're consuming it on a regular basis. One other tip for the label readers is that you might see sugar grams in the added sugars category. Now, this does not mean that producers are adding sugar after the fact, because the FDA doesn't really understand fermentation and doesn't understand that our sugars literally transform into something else. We are required by law to put those sugar grams in that added sugars category. So just to help dispel some confusion around that. And
Totally.
then the other thing you might see is that sometimes some brands have more sugar grams than others. And that's because we have a variety of ways in which kombucha can be made. So you can have a pasteurized kombucha, kombucha from concentrate, and those might have stevia or monk fruit added to them, which then has a zero sugars type of quality to it. However, we aren't totally in the transparent labeling stage, and that's where the kombucha code of practice, as well as our seal program, is intended to help consumers know that what's on the label is what's in the bottle, and they can choose which type of kombucha is good for them for the whichever use occasion it's best suited for.
I think what comes to mind too when you talk about label reading, right? You know, our family is very aware of the sugar that we're intaking. You know, the cookies and the candy, that's one type of sugar. The berries and the bananas, that sugar's totally, you know, totally different. So to your point, don't be afraid if there's a little bit of sugar on the label. It's definitely better than the sugar that's going into these, you know, soda pops and things like that. So good call out there, I think. You know, what is, you know, some of the bigger, you mentioned the study that you just talked about. What are some other just great benefits around kombucha that consumers can get excited about trading, you know, some of the sugary sodas for this product?
Absolutely. So the top 5 things that people comment that they observe when they start drinking kombucha is, of course, their digestion improves almost immediately. So many folks who have heartburn think, oh, well, I need an antacid to neutralize the acid. In fact, that only treats the symptom. The root cause is your stomach acid isn't low enough. And so consuming a sour beverage or a tangy beverage like kombucha helps to go to the root cause of that. And so it might seem weird, like, why am I drinking something sour if I have acid reflux? But in fact, that is what's actually going to help prevent the acid reflux from continuing to be so severe. In fact, my husband was able to go off his antacid, um, daily antacid, once he started incorporating more kombucha into his life. So digestion improves, skin clears up, right? We're just really starting to understand that connection between our gut and our skin and our detox pathways, which is a lot of things will come out through the skin. And so when we're drinking kombucha and we're not putting as much junk in our body, less junk is showing up on our skin. Another thing that people report is energy. Now, at first you might think, oh, well, tea has caffeine, and so it's full of caffeine. And that's not actually true. So in the fermentation process, some of that caffeine is consumed by the bacteria and the yeast. And so it has a lower caffeine content than the tea you started with. So where's that energy coming from? Well, as I mentioned, it's improved digestion, right? You have that big meal, but if you have a little sauerkraut, you have a little,
Right.
kombucha, it's going to immediately start breaking down that food. And now you have more energy. The other place the energy is coming from are B vitamins. So again, they're not present in massive doses, but when we remember, well, it feels like we're feeding this giant human being. In fact, what we're feeding are microbes, which are microscopic. And so when they're receiving these nutrients in a living form that your body can instantly uptake and utilize, they're able to use all of those nutrients that you're putting in your body. So those B vitamins, and B vitamins we know are so essential for mental
Inter-
health as well as physical energy. And then that's where we get, I just feel good. So people just feel good
yeah.
drinking kombucha because it helps you just run on all cylinders.
You know, one of the things I monitor energy drinks and the ingredients in them, and one of the biggest ingredients are vitamin B vitamins, right? So what better health trade-off than going straight to the source with kombucha and getting those B vitamins directly that are true and natural and just much better for your body to process. So I love
Exactly,
it.
because when we make B vitamins in a lab, they're synthesized and they don't have the identical shape of those that are found in nature. And so your body may not even be able to process those, or they process them incompletely, or they may have deleterious side effects if they're overconsumed. And that's why getting it in that trace form, in that natural living form, is ideal.
So let's talk about consumption. Is there a a consumption limit that people should be aware of? Like, you don't want to drink, 5 energy drinks a day. You don't want to drink, 10 cups of coffee. Is there a margin that people should stay within, or is it just kind of drink as you feel?
So our motto at Kombucha Camp of the K, is trust your gut. That means do what feels right for your body. Now, this doesn't mean trust your taste buds. This is about closing a feedback loop. For example, if you have candida overgrowth, those organisms are demanding sugar. You consume that sugar, it tastes good on the tongue, but then you've got brain fog, you've got a
Yeah,
rash, you have no energy, right? And that's, your gut is actually telling you this input isn't serving you. And so trust your gut is about listening to how your body's receiving the kombucha. If you start drinking it and you find you're in the bathroom too much, or we call this bowel tolerance, this happens with a lot of different things, magnesium and various products.
totally.
But if you find that that's not where it should be, we want to dial it back, drink more water, allow our bodies to naturally adjust, and then we can increase from there. But what I find is a lot of people, when they first start drinking kombucha, myself included, we crave it. And that's because we've had a nutritional deficiency. And so when we're onboarding that much kombucha, it's because our body's like, yes, I need this. I need to upgrade. I've been drinking kombucha for over 20 years, and there are periods of time where I don't drink any kombucha for a period, or I might just have a glass or two as opposed to a whole 16 to 32 ounces a day. And so trust your gut is about listening to that feedback. The other example I'll just throw out here, because you mentioned it, bananas and blueberries. How many should you eat?
Yeah,
At a certain point, your body's like, all right, I got enough of
I've had
that.
enough. Sure.
And because kombucha is a food, it behaves in the same way.
I love it. So, one thing we're excited about here at BrewLogix and our application, BrewDB, that really covers all things brewing and those brewery tap rooms. We've seen an explosion of kombucha brewery tap rooms, and the experience of going to the tap room, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic. There's great experiences out there that people can go on site to these kombucheries, and almost like a craft brewery, it's the same experience, right? Can you talk a little bit about that and how similar, but also how different it is in the same essence as like a craft brewery visit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, why do you go to a craft brewery? You want to hang out, you want to be with friends, you want to enjoy sophisticated flavor profiles. Maybe the first class is an IPA and the next one's Hefeweizen, or right. There's all these really unique flavors that you get to enjoy while you're out. Sometimes there's activities at these places. And so, what we're seeing in the kombucha breweries is very similar, right? We're inspired by the craft brew industry. And so some places you might only be able to go and fill up a growler, but at least you're getting it from the source. You're reducing packaging. You're having a
Yep.
better environmental impact in the world. And other places they're going to have, snacks and food. And usually the food is going to be better for you, right? We're probably not going to find the same, you know, fast food style products available at a kombuchery, because the whole point about kombucha is we're choosing a better for you product. So you can go in there, find something that's going to harmonize with that aspect of your lifestyle. And then some of them will be more community focused, where they're going to have games, and kids can come and really hang out and have a whole family experience.
Okay, so tap rooms are growing like crazy, right? And we're excited to get people to those places. What are some of the flavors that you suggest for them to jump in first and try?
Absolutely. So, from a dollars and volume sold, ginger is by far the most popular flavor of kombucha. I think many people enjoy ginger ale or ginger based beverages. So, it's a really perfect fit for that. And then after that, it's the fruity. So, your berries, and there's so many fruits that we find in kombucha. So, honestly, if there's a fruit in the world, it's probably been put into kombucha at some point. But people really like not only the flavor profiles, but the colors that those evoke. And so it's a really fun choice, is the fruity ones.
So let's talk about fun in kombucha. When you get these fun colors, and let's talk directly about non-alcoholic kombucha, but the versatility that you can have with this, making mocktails, making cocktails. Tell me a little bit about that and kind of the curiosity that people can get into just with kombucha and the versatility of what it can bring to hosting an event or going out. And, if you are a bartender, things that you can do with this product.
Absolutely. So when I bring kombucha to events, I don't have labels on my bottle. So you have this beautiful wine, clear wine bottle, and just the energy of the kombucha. Because when you're making kombucha, you typically don't need artificial colors and flavorings because she's an acetic acid ferment like vinegar, not as sour as vinegar, but certainly has some tang to it. It has this property of being able to pull out the nutrients as well as the colors of the fruits or whatever you're using to infuse it with. And so you get these dynamic jewel tones, these really beautiful colors coming through. And then there's just the fact that it's alive. I think even though it's not necessarily moving, people sense its energy. And so it gets really exciting. And then, like you're saying, there's so many different flavors. You can marry them with different types of fruits, or maybe you're infusing with some bitter herbals, like we might create a non-alcoholic mocktail. So we can layer in some more complex flavor profiles, and it's going to stand up because kombucha tends to have a really strong flavor. And so it's
I
going to be
love
able
it.
to take on some of those other types of elements, fresh fruit, making a sangria, things like this. And so our book, the Big Book of Kombucha, we have cocktail as well as mocktail recipes in there. Plus, we have 260 flavor inspiration. So we just want to inspire you to use kombucha as this canvas and really let your creativity shine. So not only do we have those fruity ones, we have herbal, we have savory. So that's what's really fun about kombucha. We could do a salsa kombucha. We could put
Oh,
cucumber
wow.
and tomato. You can make an amazing Bloody Mary and all kinds of great things with that.
I didn't even think about the food side of things. I've not even explored that avenue yet. So I guess I need to go down that avenue and explore it. So okay, you mentioned it. So I was gonna say my next question was, where can people go figure out and kind of play around with recipes and things like that? You mentioned your book, The Big Book of Kombucha.
Yes.
That's probably a great resource. And where can they find that? But is there any other resources people can check out to start learning more about it and the fun that is in kombucha?
Well, talking about checking out, you can find it probably at every library. So
I
if
love
you're
it.
not ready to make an investment, you can go to the library. But of course, it's wherever books are sold and on our Kombucha Camp with a K website. And we sell kits and cultures to get you started. So if your
Cool.
thirst outgrows your budget, like it happened to me, then we are there. We've been cultivating our cultures for 20 years in all organic ingredients. We also list out our organisms so you can see how unique our culture is to us. And just even commercial producers use our culture. They absolutely love it. It's really high quality. So, and the nice thing about kombucha is once you have that one culture, it's going to reproduce, and it's literally infinite abundance in action. But there's also some other wonderful resources. So, of course, your favorite kombucha producer is probably posting some really great cocktail or mocktail recipes on their social media. Kombucha Brewers International on our Instagram channel, we have a Thirsty Thursday. So you can search that hashtag or search kombucha, and you are going to find different cocktail and mocktail recipes from the many, many producers around the world who are in love with kombucha. And then you can also just, find your favorite cocktail recipe, put in a kombucha instead of whatever else might be there, and voila, you're just making kombucha cocktails to taste.
Off and running. Hannah, thank you so much. I'm excited, to share this word. This is going out on this special day, World Kombucha Day, which is February 21st. Let's just talk about that real quick before we get out of here. What is so special about that day, and why should people kind of celebrate it and make it a day that they go seek out this product?
So we chose February 21st, 221. In 221 BC, the Qin Shi Huangdi, the emperor who united China, um, first of all, they love tea and they're famous for their quest for a longevity elixir. So the story goes that he tasked his alchemist to create a longevity beverage, and he came up with the tea of long life, aka kombucha. And so, to honor that origin story, we chose 221, February 21st, as our annual global holiday. And so, we really love the history of it. We love to celebrate the fact that it has these ancient roots, that humans have been consuming it for thousands of years. The fact that it's a commercial product is a modern
Yeah.
phenomenon from the mid 90s, is when that really started with GTs, when he first put it in a bottle. But that said, we're excited by how it's caught on into so many places, not just here in the US, but in the entire world. It is a global sensation, and it's exciting to see it continue to pop up in more and more different places as people are reconnecting to the beauty of fermented foods and all of the great things it can do for our health. And they're just so dang tasty too.
They are. I challenge people to go to their local, wherever they're getting their craft cocktails and things like that, and their local watering holes, and ask them, hey, do you have any kombucha? Have you thought about bringing in kombucha? And obviously go support once they do bring it in, because this product is so versatile, it's so fun, it's vibrant. I think to your point, it's energizing. I love it. We drink it on a daily, weekly basis here in the office. It's created great health benefits for myself and also for the others that drink it consistently. So again, I challenge people to go out, find it, make it be
And
found,
ask
make
your
it be heard.
business, right? If you work in an office, this is a great employee perk is to
Totally,
have kombucha on tap. Like you're saying, it's that, 3 p.m. slump. Instead of reaching for a sugary snack, now you've got a
totally.
kombucha. You've got more energy instead of like crashing afterwards. Now you've really lost your productivity. Your productivity increases. So it's really a
Yeah,
benefit for the employees as well as the employers. And the last thing I would say is check out Brewery DB. There are
yeah.
so many kombucha brewers that have listed their businesses and brands there. So if you're not sure where to start, check out your great product because I know you guys are so passionate about kombucha and we've collaborated to help make your database very robust. So that's a wonderful place.
Yeah. People, you could get on brewdb.com and you can go, to the brewery map and you can literally filter by kombucha with one click of a button, and you can find those locations that not only serve kombucha, but also brew it up. And again, it's a great experience. There's some really, really fun and exciting kombucha breweries out there to go have these experiences just like you would have it with any other craft beverage. So, Hannah, thank you so much. Happy World Kombucha Day, and let's continue to have some fun and drink some kombucha.
Celebrate,
So,
celebrate.
I love it. All right, see you, everybody.
Take care.